Yo, what is up? It is like Christmas over here. We got two awesome gifts over here at the ButcherBox Test Kitchen. One brand new grass-fed, grain-finished steaks we're launching from Creekstone, and some sweet meter thermometers over here. So we're gonna check these out, all right? Welcome to our mini steak university, where we're gonna teach you 5 ways to cook steaks and 5 awesome sauces to go along with it. All right, let's check this out. We got the filet. Oh, some beautiful grass-fed beef, a stunning ribeye, the skirt steak, and then we got the flank and the New York strip. So we're gonna show you guys how to cook all 5 of these steaks today. Check it out. We just got in a meter thermometer. We're gonna check it out. We got the thermometers here, and then we got this sweet cutting board. Okay, let's check this out. Look at this thing. Wow. Pretty soigné. All right. Carve the steaks right here. The juices flow into here, and then you can pour them right in your sauce. First thing we're cooking is our ribeye steak here. Remove it, and we're gonna pat this super dry. We're gonna season it with a touch of salt, a little bit of pepper, secret seasoning, okay? My pan is heated up. I'm gonna add my avocado oil, and I'm gonna take the steak and lay it away from myself. And we're gonna sear one side for 1 minute, flip it 1 minute, and we're gonna flip it every 30 seconds. While the steak's cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of prep here with my herbs to get ready for that parsley garlic butter sauce. I'm gonna take these guys, bunch it up, and I'm gonna chop up this parsley. And then we're gonna take 1 garlic clove, and I'm gonna go ahead and flip this steak. See, we're getting this really nice, beautiful crust on it. Slice this garlic as thin as I can. About 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna drop it in the pan, our thyme, and then we're gonna take some garlic, give it a smash. That's going in the pan as well. And what we wanna do is melt down this butter, and then we're gonna baste the steak up. Now this is a thin steak, so we're just gonna do both sides real fast. Okay, this guy's ready to come out. We're gonna go ahead and remove this guy onto a tray. Okay, let it rest. I'm gonna take the thyme, the garlic. Okay, now we got the butter we just cooked the steak in. You don't want it too dark, but we're gonna add our garlic to this. We're gonna lightly cook the garlic. You can see I'm on a very low heat with this. Lightly cook the garlic. If you find that your butter is a little too dark, what you can actually do is add a touch more. And this will help it blend together really nice. Or if you just need more sauce. And then we're gonna add the parsley. Now you got a beautiful, very simple garlic butter. Once the butter's melted, go ahead and pour it into our vessel. So we got a simple, beautiful, garlicky butter. Our steak, we want it to rest another minute or 2. And a trick to see if it's seasoned is actually to take your finger, put it on top of the steak, and then lick your finger. And if your finger tastes salty, you're good. If it doesn't, you can add a little bit more. Our steak has rested. Now we're gonna go ahead and slice it. Wow. Wow, beautiful steak. We're gonna just go over it with our sauce here. We got a nice garlic butter, super simple, all right? We cook this ribeye very quickly. The ribeye has some of that extra fat, so when you're going to eat it, you just gotta kind of cut it off. Some people just like enjoying it. Wow. An awesome steak to begin with. You get the butteriness to it, and then you get that lovely flavor. Parsley, garlic, so awesome. Next, we're gonna make some flank steak, so check out how we do this. Yo, what is up? We're gonna make a little bit of flank steak from ButcherBox today. This is our beautiful flank coming from Creekstone, and I'm gonna show you guys how to make a soy marinade. Then we're gonna grill it and make a miso glaze. First thing we're gonna do is take this flank steak, open it up. It's already been defrosted. Get it as dry as possible here. Next, we're gonna make our marinade. Let's go ahead, 1 cup of soy sauce. I'm using the low sodium. A couple drops of sesame, 1 tablespoon of Mike's Hot Honey, 1 tablespoon of rice wine vinegar, fresh lime juice, and then we're gonna whisk this. The best way to marinate these is in either a cryovac bag or just a Ziploc bag. I got 2 bags here. I like to double bag it just to be safe. And we're gonna put our steak in, and then I'm gonna pour the marinade on top. We're gonna let it marinate a minimum of 30 minutes, a maximum of 24 hours. We're pouring the marinade in, and then we're gonna get all the air out. While it's marinating, we're gonna refrigerate it. All right, now we're gonna make a quick glaze for this, okay? This is gonna be super tasty. You're gonna grab a sauce pot or a saucepan. If you wanna cook it faster, you'll use a wider pan. So we're gonna get this going here. We're gonna do 1 cup of soy sauce, 3 tablespoons of Mike's hot honey, 1 tablespoon of miso. This is a light sweet miso. And then we're gonna do 1 tablespoon of rice wine vinegar. We wanna go ahead and whisk it up. We wanna bring it up to a simmer and cook it down by half until we get a nice glaze. Our flank steak has marinated for about 30 minutes, okay? This is even better if you marinate it overnight. I'm gonna go ahead, do one last kind of shake here. And then a trick is actually use a pair of tongs to get this out. While this has been marinating, I went ahead and I heat up our grill. Oh my gosh. All right, so nice and marinated. Now what we're gonna do is olive oil these steaks, okay? I'm using a little garaza for sizzling. Sizzle. So just a very, very light season just to make sure. Now these are gonna cook pretty fast. So what we're gonna do is it's gonna lightly flame up at first, totally cool. I'm gonna put these guys right here, watch. 1, 2. We're gonna do about a minute each side, and we're gonna do diamond grill marks. I'm gonna go ahead and take these guys, turn them effectively 90 degrees. So you see that? So I got beautiful grill marks, turning them that way. All right, now that we got grill marks on both sides, we're gonna give it a flip. Wow. Wow. It's getting close, it's not all the way there. We want it to stick to the meat. So we're gonna cook a little bit more. All right, once you start seeing the bubbles like this, that's when you know it's ready. So go ahead and turn the heat off. I like to whisk it to help cool it down. Soy sauce, balsamic, all these things can burn. So you gotta be careful. So flank steak's a steak you wanna cook to medium rare, cut it real thin. All right, now pro move you can do, this is how in really nice restaurants you get that beautiful glazed steak. So this is cooled down, but it's going to come in like I'm painting it. You gotta be really careful that you don't get too much on the grill. All right, I'm gonna flip it very quickly and do the other side and then take them off. Okay, we're taking it off before it burns. We got these guys done, okay? They're looking stunning. And what we're gonna do is as they're resting, we're gonna glaze them a couple more times. And then we're gonna carve into them really nice and thin, and these are gonna come out so tasty. Rested this, we've taken it off, and what I've been doing, right, you can see the glaze is really thick now, right? You see that? Ooh, look how thick that has gotten. And now we're gonna keep glazing it, and this helps get a better and better glaze on this. And after your last glaze, you let it rest about 5 minutes. This is rested about 5 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna carve this. We wanna cut it thin and against the grain. Okay, I got my first couple of pieces cooked really nicely. To garnish, we're gonna do just a little bit of cilantro here, some nice leaves over the top, just a little bit of olive oil at the end, some fresh lime juice over the top of this beef. This is our miso-soy glazed flank steak from ButcherBox, and this is so freaking tasty, okay? I can't wait for you guys to try this. Yo, what is up? Welcome to one of the best dishes of your life. We're gonna take a grass-fed, grain-finished filet, sear it, and make a bernaise sauce to go with it. I'm gonna show you a way to make a quick bernaise sauce that comes out super tasty. Bernaise sauce is one of my mom's favorite sauces, and when I make it like this for her, she is so pumped. So first thing we're gonna do is we've let our steak temper. Now we're gonna go ahead and get it as dry as possible. Gently season this with a little bit of salt, okay? Some beautiful sea salt, fresh cracked black pepper. Okay, first thing we want to do is cut our shallot. Cut the top off, cut the bottom. Then we're going to cut the shallot in half. And then we're going to take the skin layer off and we're going to dice these. They don't have to be a super fine dice, but what I like to do is run the tip of my knife through this, holding these together, okay? And then we're going to go through and cut the dices. Basically, we're going to do a quick pickle on these shallots, and we're going to use that pickling liquid to actually make the bernaise. And so I'm going to get all my shallots into a pan. We're going to add 1 cup of balsamic vinegar, a 1/4 cup of agave, okay? A small pinch of salt, some cracked black pepper, 1 sprig of tarragon that we'll pull out. Then we're going to get this on the high heat. So as soon as it comes up to a boil, we're going to turn the heat off. And this is going to be what's called a quick pickle. Once it comes up to a boil, then we're going to turn the heat off. Set it off to the side and we'll let it rest, and then we'll strain it before we make our sauce. Next, we're going to heat up our pan to saute it. Once we got some nice heat on that, we're going to go ahead and put the steak away from ourselves. We're going to sear each side for about a minute, and then we're going to add some butter, thyme, pop it in the oven. So what we're going to do here is add a tablespoon of butter, a couple sprigs of thyme, 1 piece of garlic, and then we're going to pop it right in the oven. We'll set a 3-minute timer. While that's cooking, we can very quickly try to get our béarnaise sauce done. I'm actually going to do this in a saute pan, okay? Chef Keller taught me how to do this in a saute pan, and it's a pretty cool move. But you got to start it off on lower heat, okay? And there's a trick to this. Let me show you. I got my shallots right here, right? I cut these bigger because I like it when there's chunks to it. And they're going to break apart, you'll see. So I'm straining out my shallots, setting that off to the side, and now I got my liquid here. We're going to use this to make the béarnaise. And what I'm going to do is pour about half of it in with my egg yolks. So you're going to whisk everything together, and now there shouldn't hardly be any heat in this pan. And what we're going to do is add this to the pan, okay? Turn the heat up a little bit, all right? And we're going to keep whisking. And what you want to do is get a towel ready to be able to pull it off the heat. Okay, so I'm going to start whisking, doing my best not to get it everywhere. And we're just going to gently turn the heat up. And what should happen is the eggs will start to cook, right? They'll get nice and thick. And if I take it away, put it back on, okay, fast enough, we should actually be able to make the hollandaise in here. Pretty cool. While we're doing this, we want to go ahead and melt our butter. So I'm going to put it in 2 pots. Okay, we're going to turn the heat up on that. I'm doing this pretty fast, but this is a great way to have a very gourmet meal rather quickly. You got your steak in the oven. How in the world do you know if it's ready? We're going to use a meter. Hello. We got to make sure it's paired with the app. So I'm going to put it in the side here. I'm cooking beef, filet mignon, in the oven, recommended 130. And so now it's actually showing me, right now it's at 81. We want it to get to about 130. Back in the oven with all the confidence. My butter is nice and melted. We're going to go back to cooking our hollandaise. So it's going to get really frothy and foamy first like this. That's exactly what you want. Just keep whisking it. And what's going to happen is all this froth is going to go away. As soon as it goes away, it's going to start getting really thick. Okay, just wait. You're going to see. And adding that pickle, okay, the base to this to start gives us some wiggle room to not overcook the eggs. And in here we got 3 egg yolks, and I got 1.5 sticks of butter. So a 1/2 stick of butter per egg yolk. I want this to get just a little bit thicker. So I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit. We're very close. Okay, so now you can see the bubbles are starting to go away, and it's getting thicker. Okay, you should be able to see that the bubbles are going away and it's getting a lot thicker. And basically you want to get this part as thick as you can, because you can always make this thinner, but you can't make it thicker. So this is looking really good, but in a pan, you got to remember there's going to be a good amount of carryover heat. So once you can pick it up and make a figure 8, that's when you know it's ready, okay? So we're going to pull the filet out, let that rest, right? And then we're going to finish our sauce. By the time the steak rests, the sauce is going to be perfectly done. Let's flip this guy over. Oh my gosh. Look at that goodness. Take this out and let it rest right on the cutting board. This goodness to it. So now this is nice and thick. That's perfect. We're going to start drizzling in just a little bit of the butter at a time. And I like to doing this with whole butter because what will happen is the milk solids will actually help thin it out. So I added 1 splash. Now I'm going to add some more. All incorporating very nicely, okay? I'm adding a good amount of this butter. See how it's getting nice, thick, velvety, and delicious? That's exactly what we want, okay? And you can see this is a crazy easy hollandaise sauce to whip up. Technically bernaise. The difference between a bernaise and a hollandaise is the tarragon. Okay, hollandaise is lemon, tarragon is bernaise. Don't be scared to give it some extra whisk at the very end, just to make sure it's all come together. But then once you get it to the end, you don't want to put it back on the heat. We're gonna season this up. First thing we're gonna add are pickled shallots. Now remember, you had a little piece of tarragon in your pickled shallots. So make sure you get that out, get all that pickled shallot in there. I love the texture that this adds. Now you wanna add a little bit of black pepper. You want to be able to see the black pepper in the sauce. We're going to take some tarragon leaves and slice these as thin as you can. Tarragon has a great kind of licorice flavor to it that comes out really tasty, okay? All this into the sauce. Nice. See all this going on in here? And it might just need a little bit of salt at the very end. Okay, we got our sauce done. Now we're going to go ahead, grab a plate, carve up the steak, pour the sauce over it, and try this. I'm so excited for you guys to try this. Carve this nice long strokes, okay? Okay, we'll see how the meter thermometer did. Wow, really nice. You can see it's a little bit more cooked on one side. We could have done a better job flipping it, but we were busy with that sauce. Now we're gonna go over the top with this sauce here. Wow. I'm gonna grab a couple little tarragon pieces for garnish. We got our beautiful steak done. We're gonna dig in, give this a try. Wow. You guys are gonna love this. Next, we're gonna make a really awesome sauce, a red wine sauce to go with this beautiful grass-fed, grain finish New York strip. All right, so we want to get this as dry as possible. First thing we want to do here is season this guy up with some beautiful sea salt, okay? We're gonna hit it with some finely cracked black pepper. Whenever I'm making a sauce in the saute pan, I like to use a guy like this. Flat on the bottom, nice walls, right? See the walls? Keeps the sauce inside the pan. We want the sauce inside the pan because that's the fastest way that you're gonna get the sauce on your plate, okay? So this guy's heating up. Today we're gonna use a little bit of sizzle by Grazitz or high heat olive oil, very tasty, okay? So this is heating up here. We got our steak ready, okay? And we got just a little bit of prep to do. Let me show you. We're gonna cut this onion, we're gonna cut some garlic. So I'm gonna cut what's called a cheek. You see this? You can also use a shallot for this. Sometimes I like the boldness of that red onion. I'm gonna remove that outer layer of skin, and then from there I'm gonna cut it as thin as I can. And then we got our garlic. A garlic cut off just a touch. And then we're gonna cut the garlic in half. And then I like to just slice this as thin as you can. So we got our garlic done. We got our onion done. We're gonna pop these little bowls. I'm gonna add my oil in. And we're gonna lay the steak away from ourselves. We're gonna give this a flip. Ooh, look at that, really nice sear. Let's test out our meter. So basically you wanna put this in the thickest spot. So I'm gonna go at an angle like this. And we're gonna tell it what we're cooking. I'm gonna set this closer to 110. Okay, right now it's at 62. It's actually kind of cool to see this. Inside the steak is 75. My target here is 110 because of carryover. The ambient temperature is 155. Okay, we're gonna give that another flip. And we're getting just a beautiful sear on this steak. 105. So now I'm gonna turn the heat down and we're gonna start basting up this steak. A little bit of butter, a little bit of garlic. Pop this guy out. Pour most of the goodness on top. It recommended 130. If you can see, letting it rest, it's already getting up to 126. Now with this, the first thing we want to add is our onions. We're gonna lightly cook these around, and then we'll add the garlic. They're cooking along nice. I think they need just a little bit more fat to get where we want to go. Now we're gonna add our sliced garlic. We're gonna cook these for a couple minutes. We want to get it all nice and soft. Little pinch of salt here. Once the onions and garlic are cooked and they're nice and soft, we're gonna add our red wine. And we want to turn the heat up on this and cook it down as fast as we can. And then we're going to add the beef stock. Our steak has rested. We're going to go ahead and carve this guy up. And I just like to do nice long strokes. This is a really cool technique, is I'm slicing and I'm putting my finger over and then pulling it back. I would say that is perfectly cooked. Our sauce has come down. And so what we're going to do now, we're going to turn the heat off. We're going to whisk in some butter. As it cools down, it'll thicken slightly. And our test, if this is ready, is to run your finger down the back and see right in the middle where it coats the spoon. That's what we want. I want to get this a little bit thicker, so I'm going to add a little bit more butter. You can see how it's getting nice and thick. You'll want to season with a little bit of salt, and also it's important to season with some nice acid, like red wine vinegar. You can see it's got a great texture now. Always use grass-fed butter. Okay, let's give this a try. Needs a little bit of salt. Add a little splash of vinegar here. I'm gonna sauce this guy up. This is awesome. You gotta try this. Super tasty, really refined, beautiful, beautiful, buttery, rich red wineness to go all over that steak. We're gonna make chimichurri with skirt steak. Skirt steak is a very thin steak, grills really fast, it tastes awesome, and chimichurri is a really great sauce that is literally just bursting with flavor. I got my skirt steak right here, and I'm drying this, getting it as dry as possible, and then I like to gently marinate this. And the way we're gonna do that is by lightly seasoning it. We're gonna marinate it in the crazy simplest marinade ever, olive oil, lemon. Using our bags, we're gonna double bag it, pop the steaks inside. You can kind of lay them flat like that. Graza, oh yeah. Graza is nice, it's a little spicy, okay, so it helps with the marinade. And then what we're gonna do is take lemon, slice it. I want a little bit for my chimichurri, so we're gonna save that. Put a couple slices on top of this steak. Press the air out, seal it up. If you're marinating this, just doing a quick marinade before you grill it, you can leave it on your counter up to about 30 minutes, let it get nice at the room temperature. If you're doing it overnight, pop it on a tray, pop it in the fridge. The longer the better. This is gonna come out really nice. You're gonna be very happy with this. While that is marinating, we're gonna make our chimichurri sauce. What you'll need is a blender. Okay, we got our blender. First, we got our parsley. I like to use my knife and kind of trim the parsley. I like the stems. I'm gonna save this for stock, and I'm gonna go through and just pick out any extra stems. Pick out any of those seeds and stems that you might see. You don't have to go crazy with this. Yes. And now I like a little bit of cilantro in it, okay? Not a lot, just a little bit. Same thing, okay? Got this coming in. And then we're gonna do a little bit of onion. So I'm gonna cut a little cheek here. You can do onion, you can also do shallot for this. And what I find works best is just if you do a little dice. Just helps get it nice and blended up. I like the red onion, adds a cool color. Okay, now a little bit of lime juice. Touch of red wine vinegar. A little bit of salt. Black pepper. Garlic. Oregano. Red pepper. Olive oil. Raza. We got our chimichurri right here. We got our steak that's been marinating in the fridge. Now we're gonna take this out, and I got the grill on behind me. I'm gonna bring you guys over there, and we're gonna grill up these guys. Hit them with a little bit of sauce. Our steaks have rested. I like to hit them with a little sauce when they come off the grill just to start that marination. And I got a long slicer here. And these guys we want to cut against the grain. If you're not sure, you can just cut a little piece, a little sneak peek. So basically the grain is running this way. And so I'm going to cut it more like this. Nice long cuts. Hit it with a little bit of sauce here. It's nice to get a little greenery in there too. Check that out. We got our beautiful skirt steak, our nice chimichurri here. All right, guys, I had so much fun with you with our little mini steak academy here. You're now graduating, going out in the world, gonna be able to cook 5 of the hardest steaks out there and make 5 unbelievably delicious sauces. Thank you for hanging out with me, okay? I had a blast. I hope you had a blast as well. And I really hope that you enjoyed this one. I hope to see you again on more videos in a live class. Get in that box every month. Bye, guys.